What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Bankroll Blitz. It's your boy, Mr. Brad Thomas. We got Bobby in here at Prop Holiday and very special guest, Vaughn Dalzell. We are going to talk about the NFL Divisional rounds. Fellas, how are y'all doing today?
Feeling good, man. It's an exciting week of football coming up. I'm not going to lie to you. Better than last week. It's going to be better than last week.
Anything would be better than last week's would happen in football. So, especially coming from a Steelers fan, I'm ready to watch some close football.
Oh, yes.
Some good contests. Hopefully the favorites continue doing what they're doing, but that's just a little hint of what I'm expecting this weekend.
Yeah, no, when I was on another pod, I was like, man, I'm heavy favorites this week. And I mean, it's the playoffs. We see that trend pretty frequently where favorites are killing it. So I'm going to go and kick things off with my teaser. So I'm going to start this off with a 6.5 point teaser. I generally stick with 6, but I really wanted to get that key number to 10. So I ate a little bit of juice. It's Bengals plus 10 and Packers plus 1. So first, let's talk about the Bengals. I think that books are going to be super, super leveraged in this game, right? And I was talking to a DraftKings trader where in the playoffs, there's always that one game where the books can make up that money, a game where they're going to be over leveraged. And if you look at the money that's on the Titans, 83% of the money, and I pulled this yesterday, so the numbers could be a little different, but 83% of the money on the Titans, 59% of the bets on the Titans. This would be my Operation Fade if we were doing Operation Fade in the playoffs, but I can't do it when we have these few amount of games because it's going to be fairly even across the board. I think the Bengals are a fun team this week. And I think that the number moving from 2.5 to 3.5 is very, very, I guess would say important to note. I think they have a chance to cover the 3 and it lands directly on 3. And they have a chance to win outright. The Bengals, yes, banged up on defense, but we saw Hubbard. We saw how fascinating that D line was getting pressure. The Titans are a superior team, but if you look at the games where the Bengals played against good teams like the Packers, they hung in there. It's one of those things where you have a team like the Bengals who were god-awful last year, and then, a lot of people thought they made mistakes in the offseason. And if you watch it all season, that offense is dynamic. Joey Franchise will keep you in the game. If he eliminates interceptions, they will be in this game throughout the entire contest. I'm not worried about Derrick Henry. I am worried about the Titans allowing big plays. They're one of the worst teams in big plays allowed. We got Jamar Chase sitting back there, and we know Tyler Boyd, hint, at something I'm going to talk about later, could have a big game. So I really like landing on that spot there. And the Packers, I'm not going to go too heavily on the Packers because I know Vaughn has a play on the Packers, and I'm super high on the Packers this week. All I need them to do is win the game. Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau. Listen, prime time. I don't care how great the 49ers looked against the Dallas Cowboys. It's not Dak Prescott. It's not a team who has to live up to America's expectations in the Cowboys. This is the Packers, and this is one of the best defenses they've had in quite some time. So Aaron Rodgers can breathe a little bit easy, and he's playing almost to that MVP caliber that he was last season.
Yeah, well, we're getting the quarterbacks now out of the league that are inexperienced in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like the Dak Prescott's, the Kyler Murray's, even Derek Carr is one of them. Joe Burrow survived that first game. So that was pretty much what I was doing all last week, was fading those guys. I did take the Raiders. Joe Burrow did survive. I think the Bengals are a team that can keep this game close. For the Packers now, hey, I bet the 49ers last week. I bet them to cover and win, and I felt great about it because Jimmy G, as a road dog, is 10-3 ATS in his career with the Niners and 9-4 on the money line. So that's great, but I'm not one of those people that are going to continue just riding the Niners because of that stat.
Yeah.
Because when it comes into this game, it's a totally different script. I think Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau is elite. I mean, he's 4-2 ATS in his home, 4-2-1 ATS, 5-2 on the money line at home as a favorite in the playoffs. Only Eli Manning and Tom Brady beat him. So I'm not expecting that to happen here. So I did lay the 5.5 with the Packers. And with your Titans, man, in the Bengals game, I'm not going to lie. I did lay the 3.5 with the Titans. I wouldn't lay the points with 9.5 or anything. So I think you may be safe. But when it comes to this game, there's a interesting stat I found that since 2016, teams that have had a bye week in the postseason are 13-4 on the money line, 1-10 of the last 11. and they're 9-6-2 ATS in those games. So certainly a big factor in backing the Titans here, but they're also getting healthy, as we talked about. Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones too, now healthy. His first touchdown, week 18, gets a whole week off. He's going to look good. So, yeah, I like the Titans here, who are getting healthy, have beat very good teams. They're 4-1 with those three in the lineup. And then you got also, just a Bengals team that's getting banged up with two defensive linemen that are questionable or out for this game. And now with Derrick Henry, oh my goodness. So, yeah, I like the Titans and I like the Packers on the spreads. The two favorites, I know it's not the attractive picks, but I do like these two teams matched up at home.
No, you nailed it, man. I mean, Tennessee Titans are getting healthy at the right time. I don't think they've been healthier all season since September, with their big playmakers offensively coming back, and then looking on the other side of the ball with Cincinnati. I think Trey Hendrickson is expected to play, but Larry Ogunjobi is on IR. So that's that's your D line. And
Mike Daniels as well. I think he's questionable for this game. So that's
he left the game this week, ended up coming back, and now you're getting Derrick Henry. And even if you get only 10 to 15 carries out of Derrick Henry, Deontay Foreman played very well down the stretch.
Yes, he did.
Two bruising backs, I really think can control the clock and take the Bengals out of it. So this game is one. Obviously, it's the first game of the weekend, but it's the most interesting one to me, at least for the Saturday game.
It's the toughest to cap, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And with Derrick Henry, like just to your point, if he does get the ball 10 or 15 times, like you're not stopping him on a 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 1, because that's when they want to give him the ball. And he could be a decoy any other time. And if they don't want to give him the ball on 3rd and 3, someone's probably open. So I think the Titans definitely, just getting him back in general was huge for them.
One of the more important things I think for this Titans offense is getting to 3rd and short, as you kind of pointed out. Ryan Tannehill in 3rd and long situations, bottom 10 in the league, not a good guy. But if you have those two backs and you can get him a 3rd and short situations, then this Titans offense can really start clicking. So that'll be something to watch early on in the game, how they're performing on 1st and 2nd down.
Agreed.
Absolutely. I will say, so I'm a huge Alabama fan, huge Derrick Henry fan. I was dying when Derrick Henry was running 30 or 40% during drills, and everyone goes, "Look how amazing Derrick Henry looks. He's killing it out." I was dying. I was like, he's running like 30.
Like, dude, what are you doing? We're just practicing. He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Anyways, back to the Bengals game, Bobby. You have a teaser set up. What are you going to do in the Bengals game?
I want to thank you for getting me addicted to these teasers, because I didn't start off the Bankroll Blitz season doing this, but I've had a lot of success. I'm having a lot more fun with it. I am taking the Bengals up to that 9.5, 10-point range, and then going with the over. These two teams met last year. It was Cincinnati. It was Zach Taylor and Mike Vrabel. Bengals actually pulled it out 31-20. So it was a higher scoring affair. The teams are a little bit different, but same head coaching structure, same playmakers, except we're adding Jamar Chase to that factor. So from a scoring standpoint, being over 41 with how healthy the Tennessee Titans are offensively, I feel comfortable. Going over to the Bengals, this is an eerily similar matchup, their offense versus this defense. Last week, they play a Raiders team that does not blitz, and they get pressure with their front four. The number 1 defense in the league. Number 2 for not blitzing and getting pressure with your front four, the Tennessee Titans. So I think they're already prepared mentally going into this game, what they can expect. We saw CJ Uzomah and Tyler Boyd take advantage of that. These are your short intermediate routes. You have your slot receiver and your tight end over the middle. They had surprisingly good games. I think we see a little bit more of that this week. So I like the Bengals to keep it close. I do think the Titans end up pulling it out. I don't know if they cover the spread, but 9.5 feels comfortable. And 41, I do think we see a decent amount of scoring. So I like that that Joe Burrow and this offense were already able to see a similar matchup and adjust accordingly. If you look at the beginning of the season, Joe Burrow through the first 9 games, horrible against not being blitzed. Over the last 9 games, 90.7 passer rating when being blitzed by 4, first in the league. Passing grade, 115.1 passer rating, second in the league over the back half of the season when being blitzed by 4. He's getting the ball out quicker. He's adjusting to what he's seeing, and he's comfortable. I mean, he did not look shook at any point. And if you saw the interview after the game, he wasn't excited. He goes, the divisional round, winning the division, that was something we felt worth celebrating. He goes, this isn't worth celebrating. That's what you want to see. As young as he is, he's ahead of his years mentally. So I don't think he's this moment is not too big for him. Love the 9.5 and love it to be a higher scoring affair. And it's plus odds, which who doesn't love that?
Yeah, can't argue with that. I definitely lean the over as well. I think that's a good bet. I know a lot of people on the over, and I was feeling like that was where I was leaning as well in this one. So definitely approve.
Yeah, I love plus money teasers and two teams that this could turn into an absolute shootout. And even if the game gets one-sided, hopefully to the Bengals side, the Bengals could score enough where it really they can get close to the total themselves. So getting plus money there, and I'm glad you're on teasers, man. You'll start to notice, like, when you get past these key numbers that the NFL sets, sometimes the only way to play the games are teasers.
I think as long as I keep it to 2-team teasers, I'm safe. When I start going to 3 and 4 is when it gets a little hairy. So I'm gonna stick with the 2-teamers, get them around even money, and feel good.
Yeah, I'm gonna go over to the Bucs game. Last weekend I had the opportunity to go to my first NFL playoff game, and it was freaking awesome. It was Tampa Bay, and I did get a chance to watch the game from a different perspective. Like, when you're at your house, there's things that you don't really notice as much than when you're at the game, and one of my favorite things to do is just kind of watch game script and play calling on the offense. So I found this parlay to be pretty juicy, especially since Mike Evans did not score a touchdown, is minus 160. I'm going to take Cooper Kupp to score a touchdown and Mike Evans to score a touchdown plus 210. There's no denying Cooper Kupp, the best wide receiver in the league, 17 touchdowns. I think that Cooper Kupp has an opportunity to score multiple touchdowns. He scored in that game the last time we played. Well, if you want to rewind to the last time we played, you guys, you want to notice that the Bucs targeted Chris Godwin more than they did any other wide receiver, and that was a trend all season. We talked about on the podcast that prior to the Godwin injury, he was the most targeted wide receiver on our team in the red zone. That doesn't necessarily mean when we get to like the 5-yard line, we're not throwing the ball to Gronkowski or Brate or doing something underneath to Gio Bernard. He found the end zone in that game. Now there's no Godwin. And what the Bucs did last week, which I thought was super fascinating with Mike Evans, was when we got to the red zone, we actually moved him into the slot. What that does is it allows him to have more options on his route tree in the red zone. He found the end zone in back-to-back games. I'm not worried about the Jalen Ramsey cover. Jalen Ramsey is a phenomenal defensive back, and I think that he will have his moments in this game. But when you have a guy as big as Mike Evans in the red zone playing in the slot, it becomes a disadvantage. That's what kind of we see this new age tight end. When you let these new age tight ends in the slot against linebackers and DBs, it's just unfair. So I like this parlay, plus 210. Bucs are going to be at home. I was at the game and it wasn't as loud as it should have been. And someone said, hey, it's not that loud because we're saving it for the Rams. And I was like, all right, yeah, let's do this.
I mean, obviously me and you are a little partial to the situation, but I do want to say something that works in your favor about Jalen Ramsey. Because of the inexperience I'm playing for the Rams. The lack of experience that the Rams have at the safety position due to late season injuries, they have to move Jalen Ramsey to, they call it a star role. That's what Morris calls it. He's essentially floating. So there may be instances where he matches up against Mike Evans, but by no means is he's going to shadow him the entire game. So you're going to get Mike Evans matched up against, an inexperienced safety and Nick Scott. And you may be able to take advantage of those situations more because he will not be trailing him all game. So I do think that works in your favor. And we'll talk about it a little bit later in our plays. You don't have Godwin, you don't have Antonio Brown. Now you're moving a little bit further down the pecking order, and Brady's a little bit less comfortable with some of these younger guys we saw last week. So he's going to favor Mike Evans. So I mean, I think this is awesome, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, I'll definitely second that. I've been looking at Mike Evans props. I'm trying to get a booster at points bet with Mike Evans, 4+ receptions.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and then the Bucs to win because I'm on the Bucs money line. So, might as well hop into that one and talk about that if you always want, since we're
go and jump on Bucs money line.
Yeah, Bobby, I know you probably like the Rams from what I've heard already. It seems like that, and I got a Bucs jersey over here, so I mean we're all right. But hey, Tom Brady, I don't ever feel comfortable fading him in the postseason. That's like, there's some rules in life, like you bet on LeBron to make it to the Western Conference Finals or the Finals itself, and then you fade him when he's in the NBA Finals. And it's like Tom Brady, when he gets to the Super Bowl, you bet on him to win the Super Bowl, and you don't usually fade him when he's en route to get there. But those are just a couple rules I live by. But overall, I mean, this guy's won 10 of his last 11 games in the playoffs as a home favorite. And as you said, Tampa Bay is going to be rocking for the Rams in town. They're making cross-country trip, which I don't think the cross-country trip means as much, but what I do think means a lot in this game is that they didn't move Mike Evans around, which showed them the flexibility to actually, not mean as much with that Antonio Brown departure. And that didn't take this team off their rocker. Like, they're still focused on what the task is at hand right now. They're going up against a quarterback, Matthew Stafford, who I love, but is turnover prone. He's not going to be like Kyler Murray was in his first start, throwing the ball from the 1-yard line for picks and everything. But Matthew Stafford is going to turn the ball over in some sort of fashion, and Tampa Bay is going to be creative defensively to get him off of his rocker, because since Brock Woods has gone down, he has not been the same type of quarterback. He's been careless with the ball. And like I said, the fourth quarter pops up, teams tense up. Tom Brady does not. If he gets the ball last, I know it's going to happen. So I feel comfortable playing with the money line. I do think the Rams keep it close. They can get pressure on a banged-up offensive line for Tampa Bay. But if anyone's going to throw 3 to 5 yards for 60 minutes and get first downs, it's Tom Brady. So give me the Bucs on the money line.
No, I mean, I think you make a very valuable point there. There's a lot of things that we can expect. We know what to expect from Tom Brady. We know defensively the run stopping of Tampa Bay's front seven is elite. What we don't know we're getting, what's the wild card, is what version of Matt Stafford do you get? If he turns the ball over, completely agree with you. And more often than not, he has in the second half of the season. I think that will be – the turnovers will be the deciding factor in this game. What works in the Rams' favor, Cam Akers looked like Cam Akers. I completely forgot. I mean – I obviously remember this guy. I was very excited for him going into the season, tears his Achilles and comes back in the same year. And I thought, okay, they're going to ease him along. And if they, get along to the playoffs, he's getting 30% of the snaps, 40% of the snaps, use him as a third down back, similar to Kamara and Mike Ingram, where they had Michelle and Akers. That's not what happened last week. He got 50% of the snaps. He looked fresh. He was lowering his shoulder and driving piles. Obviously I hope Budda Baker's all right, but that was a vicious hit. This guy still has power and speed that Michelle doesn't bring. So if they do happen to get that run game going against Tampa, which is very difficult, it takes a lot less pressure off of Stafford to really push the ball downfield, which is where we see a lot of those turnovers. So the game hinges, I think, on Stafford's play. If he turns the ball over, the Rams don't win. So I'm with you there.
Yeah, no, when I was looking at my props, I was trying to see if what linebackers to get an interception props were available for the Tampa Bay Bucs, and they weren't available on the book I was using. One thing that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense has been doing is we've been disguising our blitz packages pretty well, where our main edge rushers have actually been dropping in coverage more frequently than quarterbacks are expecting. So we've been getting a lot of deflections. Deflections lead to interceptions in the NFL, and I didn't feel comfortable taking Matt Stafford to throw a pick at -150. Those odds were just gross. And I feel like if you take two linebackers and one of them snags, and you put a little bit of money, it's like they're normally around like plus 800. So if you put just a little bit of money on two of them, one of them snags it, you're still going to make pretty good money.
Yeah, I like that. There could be turnovers on both sides in this game, honestly.
There wasn't any.
There wasn't any in the meeting earlier this season. Yeah. 0 on both sides. So at least one is coming in this game.
It's because Brady couldn't throw the ball. He's just freaking getting so much pressure. It was so frustrating to watch. Yeah. Bobby, talk about your Tom Brady prop, man.
I was going to say, I feel like we're naturals here. This is a perfect segue into my play. I'm on Tom Brady to throw an interception. It's -102. Vaughn pointed out there was no interception in the first meeting this season. However, Tom Brady threw 2 interceptions against the Rams in 2020. He had one against them in the Super Bowl in 2018 on the opening drive. I already mentioned that these wide receivers, we're talking about Tyler Johnson. I do think we see some Scotty Miller. We're going to see some more O.J. Howard out there. These are guys that are not as on the same page as the other wide receivers. We saw it last week with Tyler Johnson against Philly. A couple plays where Tyler Johnson, Brady was expecting him to keep running on the route, break it off, and go up. Completely thrown over his head. Tyler Johnson cut it on the inside. These are instances where you're starting to see interceptions. And then on top of that, we're going to talk about the pressure. Tom Brady, the way to beat Tom Brady is interior pressure. He has no problem stepping up in the pocket. He's actually fairly mobile, just maneuvering within the pocket, obviously not breaking it out. So if you get pressure on the edge, it's never really disrupted Brady. When you start pushing him outside of that pocket through the interior, that's when the turnovers start happening, and that's the recipe for success. Who does that in the NFL better than Aaron Donald? So obviously, as you pointed out, no interceptions in this first game. But the other two meetings prior, Tom Brady versus this Rams defense, obviously in 2018, it was a Wade Phillips. Schematically, they've kept the same. They kept everything in the same place. It's a Vic Fangio style defense. So I do think we see Brady throw a pick, and it is primarily to the interior pressure, the lack of being on the same page with these younger wide receivers, and there's a chance center Ryan Jensen could not play. He's questionable. Brad, I don't know if you heard anything on that. I know Wirfs is questionable and Jensen are up in the air.
Yeah, Jensen, I saw last fall was probable. Wirfs still questionable.
Yeah, I think Jensen's going to play. I think he's going to play a little banged up, and it's going to be tough because Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
And Wirfs definitely he played a lot last week, but he had to keep leaving and coming back in.
Yeah.
Which is definitely not a good sign. Whenever you're smashing the Eagles, you could just sit that one out. It's going to be interesting.
Everyone's banged up. It's the second week of the playoffs.
But even at 40+ years old, Tommy Turbo, he's got wheels all of a sudden. So
I know he actually ran.
Might got to activate.
His over/under on yards, I think, is 1.5. He had it against the Rams, I think, week 3 or 4 this year when they played, and I was pretty. I think he was jacked up. I give him credit.
Yeah.
I do have a really chalky play. I didn't mention this, guys. It's -250 for Aaron Donald to choke somebody. If you can get that at FanDuel or DraftKings, mind parlaying that with the Packers money line, you get it to even money. He will choke somebody. Mark my words.
Let's go to a high-scoring game. Listen, the Bills-Chiefs game is probably, in my opinion, from a side standpoint, the absolute hardest game for me to cap.
Yeah.
And when Vaughn sent his plays, I was so excited that you were on the same side as me because I think this game has opportunity for fireworks. Two of the hottest offenses in a total that's kind of set too low. Vaughn, tell me why you like the over here.
Yeah, so I was feeling the over a lot. Then we started talking to a couple of NBC guys before the Blitzing the Board show. And then Warren Sharp said his only play was going to be the over on this game. And I said, well, it's going to be 1 unit for me, but now it's definitely 1.5 units. Because if Warren Sharp's on a total, I got to be on that total too. But no, I mean, when I capped this game, I mean, the last 2 meetings have 58 and 62 points generated. The first meeting between them, because now it's going to be the 4th one. So the first meeting between them was only 43 points. The only game that was ever taking place in Buffalo between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. First ever meeting between the two, I expected it to be low scoring compared to the last two. With this at 53.5, 54, I still feel like this is a good number because in the second quarter, we've seen fireworks. You mentioned fireworks. We've seen that in the second quarter alone. The last meeting, there was 27 points in the second quarter. The meeting before that, there was 24. So we see these teams fill each other out. They score in the first quarter, and then they just explode, and they try and run up the score for halftime before the other team gets the ball back. And the last thing I'll make a point on, besides the quarterbacks having great games the last two, you can look up their numbers. They both have 7 or 8 total touchdowns, 800 total yards against each other in 3 meetings. The Bills' defense is heralded as like this great secondary. They shut everybody down, all this stuff. They've kept their last 5 opponents to 21 or fewer points. Look at who they played, though. The Patriots twice, rookie quarterback. The Jets, rookie quarterback. The Falcons and the Panthers. Terrible offenses right now. One was Cam Newton, the other one was Matt Ryan. All right, so we'll go to the Chiefs side now. In the last 5 for the Chiefs, they've held 4 of their 5 teams under 21 or less points. Pittsburgh twice. Denver, come on now. The Bengals, I'll give them credit, and then the Chargers. The Bengals were the one that went over, obviously, and the Chargers 21 or less. Not very impressive offenses either that they face. So I just feel like both these defenses are heralded as being much better than they are. And we're going to see 2 very talented offenses with 2 top 5 quarterbacks go at it. So, yes, I do like the over. I don't think the single temperature weather is a big factor. If it's supposed to be pretty cold, 10, 12 degrees at the most, at the highest, doesn't matter. I think we could see a 30-27 type of game.
Yeah, I'm all over this over. And like you think about these games, you already said about the teams they're playing, but even in these games, the Bills have hit their total in 4 of the last 6. The Chiefs have hit the over in their last 6. I think this is going to be one of those games where for the first time, it seems like forever, where the Bills secondary actually misses White. It's going to be one of those games where the Chiefs are finally getting healthy and the Bills are like, man, we're kind of thin at secondary. And when you're playing against a Mac Jones, it's easy to shut him out. I said that last week that Mac Jones has an opportunity to be destroyed and not even throw 1 touchdown. And he didn't get a touchdown until garbage time. So I like the total here. And it's kind of funny you mentioned that second quarter. The last game they played, the second quarter live total was set at 13.5, and I made an official play. I was just baffled that they set it at 13.5. I was like, even if this doesn't hit,
touchdowns.
Yeah, it's like easy money. It's the easiest money I've ever made in my entire life.
And like I'm waiting on how the rest of my weekend goes before this game. Obviously, the last game, you don't want to chase or anything, but it's like it's hard for me to picture Pat Mahomes in the squad not being like slowed down at all, like not playing their game, you know. And it makes me want to bet the Chiefs, but I also just think like rather than betting a side on who wins, live betting this one, you get a +7, +10, much better.
Yeah.
But the first half total was set at 26.5. I'm like 4 touchdowns. Like we could see 4 touchdowns in the first 30 minutes of this game, if not 3 touchdowns and a couple of field goals. So I might be making the 26.5 an official play as well, you know, by Saturday.
Yeah. No, and I think that line was around the same line as Bengals Chiefs first half. I remember making, I think, one of my plays a couple weeks
you made it on the podcast.
So no, it's definitely going to be fireworks. I mean, let's not lie to ourselves. This is the AFC Championship game. I mean, one can make an argument if you're really feeling froggy, it could be the Super Bowl, but this is the game of the week. I'm no disrespect to the Packers. I'm very glad that this is the last game, the Sunday night game. But no, man, this is awesome. This is fireworks. This is 2 of the top. I mean, if you're looking at the way Josh Allen has been playing football, he had more touchdowns than incompletions last week. He is the evolution of Big Ben and Cam Newton, and we're seeing it in real time. And it's awesome to watch. I mean, Cam Newton, we expected to become this mobile, athletic, being able to push the ball downfield. Big Ben wasn't really able to semi-mobile, but not the athleticism of Josh Allen. This is 2 Titans squaring off. I'm very excited.
Yeah, you'll be able to find.
It really suck if there was no scoring in this game.
No, dude, this is if you like chasing and you like live betting, this game's gonna have so many opportunities. I'm just like literally can't wait till I just have my hand on the computer just ready. Give me something that looks good, and I'm firing away just rapid fire. Pop, pop, pop.
And just a tidbit too, like if we do see fireworks in the first or second quarter, this 53.5 line will be like a joke. Like we could be seeing a 64.5, 67.5. Like, you know, if it's really high scoring in the first and second quarter, like we think it could be. So I mean, keep that in mind, because if we do see 3-4 touchdowns in the second quarter, I'll probably live bet an under and try and hedge out my over
try to get that middle.
Try and get some type of 14 or more point cushion if possible.
Absolutely. All right, Bobby, wrap up the posted plays here with your Davante Adams Packers play.
Shocked. The only thing I could say when I saw this line open is shocked, and obviously it has moved. So it opened up at Davante Adams over 91.5 receiving yards. Right now on FanDuel, it's 94.5, and I still like it there. Adams, his over-under on receptions is 7.5. It's -158. All indications are he's going to hit 8 receptions. When he gets 8 receptions, he's hit this line 100% of the time. Now, he in the Week 3 matchup against San Fran, 18 targets, 12 receptions, 132 yards. That's just this season. Now we're going to go, if you look at his home and road splits, 8 receptions at home versus 7 on the road. Plays better at home. He's averaging 8.5 receptions per game, over 11 yards per catch, 95 yards per game in the month of January for his career. Now, that's only 2 games, small sample size, but that had been later in his career with Aaron Rodgers. And then finally, his career versus the Niners, 120 yards per game and 5 touchdowns. He has eaten this team alive. He's done it this time of year. Love this line at 91.5. It's at 94.5. I'd play it up to 95, 96.5, and I'm probably going to play it with the FanDuel adjusted alternate line at 100 plus. I think you get it like plus 108, something like that. It's great value. We are going to see a lot of Davante Adams. They're going to want to jump out to an early lead. We talked about it earlier in the pod. If you get up 2 scores and you force Jimmy G to drop back 35, 40 times a game, that is a recipe for disaster. Now, the only thing working in the Niners' favor, they got down 17 points to the Rams. They still ran the ball 27 times with Elijah Mitchell. I don't think this Packers team is that Rams team. They're getting 2 starters. They're getting Zadar Smith and Jair Alexander coming back. So if they can build a lead, they can win this game comfortably. And I think you do that by getting Davante Adams going early and often.
And here's the thing, too. The Packers are one of the worst first quarter scoring teams in the NFL.
Yep.
So if they don't get out to that big jump either, Adams is getting fed for 4 full quarters more than likely.
Oh yeah.
But the Packers are good in the second quarter. That's the thing. They're not a first quarter team, but they're second quarter. They just take a little bit to get oiled up. That's all it is. But yeah, I'm super pumped you're on Adams because I wrote about him and I bet him a 2-unit bet on Adams to score a touchdown against the Niners the first time meeting. Then I bet him on his over yards and receptions at 1-unit play. So I made 4 units on Davante Adams in the early season meeting. And here's the thing about him against the Niners, because you already hit on a little bit. In all 4 career meetings with him, bro, he is 8 up. He has scored every single meeting against the Niners. He has 5 total touchdowns against the Niners. He has gone for 132 or more yards in 3 out of 4 meetings with the Niners. And he's caught 10 or more passes in 3 of those 4 games. His low was 7 catches on 12 targets. So Davante Adams is going to get fed, period, against the Niners in this game because he does. But yeah, even looking over his stats, I mean, I haven't had fun looking up all his stats again at Lambeau in the playoffs because this dude has scored every single touchdown, every single game he's played at home in the playoffs. That's insane. And he scored 3 out of 4 divisional games. So yeah, I think Davante Adams is just going to have a huge game here in general. In the Niners secondary in the last 5 games, pick a number 1 receiver on each team. They've all scored. Amari Cooper, Cooper Kupp, Brandon Cooks, A.J. Brown, and Russell Gage. All 5 guys scored against the Niners, all number 1 receivers. So, yeah, Davante Adams, give me all his props.
I hope Richard Sherman is playing.
Yeah, that would be the cherry on top. That would make me be like, all right, when do I get paid and how much do I bet? Because that's all you need. But, yeah, I love Davante Adams. I think he's going to do everything you need this weekend. So, yeah, 1.5 units on his touchdown. Bobby, I'll tell you on the yards. I like his – the fact that you're getting 110 odds on the 94.5 and it's only plus 108 at a plus 100 yards, that's closing at 102.5, 104,
oh, yeah.
9.5. So, yeah, get it now while it's hot.
Throw those in your – when you're juicing those parlays, because everybody throws in the lottery tickets.
Yeah.
You start adjusting those lines. I'm doing it with Davante Adams. Give me plus odds on anything with Davante Adams.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess going into the TD parlay, Vaughn already talked about Davante Adams. I'm on Josh Allen. You heard me praise him earlier in the pod a couple minutes ago. He's plus 145 to score against his Chiefs team. He scored one rushing touchdown in 2 career games versus the Chiefs. He scored 2 touchdowns in 3 games in January for his career. He understands how important this moment is. He didn't have to run one in last week. I actually love that for this play, that he didn't have to get banged up and get dirty on the ground. I think we're going to see him make some plays with his legs against the Chiefs. When they start getting inside that 20, Josh Allen's going to tuck it and run. I don't know if they would trust Devin Singletary as much, but these are games you can't lose. These are red zone trips you cannot afford to wither away, and you put the ball in Josh Allen's hands. So plus 145. Shocked it's not around plus 120, so I'll take it. And I do think we see him push one in on the ground.
Hey, I like that. In this game, I'm taking both of the quarterbacks to score the first touchdown of the game. Just put a little money on it because it's hit so often in their games, and especially with Patrick Mahomes.
And the last touchdown, I thought about that one too.
Oh,
just like Josh Allen, if the game comes down to the line and it's 3rd and goal, and Josh Allen has the ball, he's not giving the rock up. So
that's a great.
I like that prop a lot. I think Allen's definitely going to have the ball around the goal line a couple times.
And you mentioned Mahomes rushing, 22.5 rushing yards. Seems a little low to me, considering
he had like 50 or 60 in one of the meetings they had against him. Yeah. And his legs looked good last week. I mean, both quarterbacks. This is going to be the best game.
It's going to be so exciting. I'm on Tyler Boyd for my touchdown. He has 6 touchdowns this year, and I was kind of leaning towards Jamar Chase. I talked about this earlier, where the Titans give up big plays, but I think the matchup in the game script is better for Tyler Boyd. These quick throws that are going to be needed to be made by Joe Burrow, especially in the red zone with pressure, allows Boyd, who has the better matchup and the quicker target, to score. He's converting very well, over 90% in his red zone targets. So when he's getting targeted in the red zone, he's actually catching the ball. And then if we want to talk about breakaway ability, he's shown that if Jamar Chase is getting blanket coverage, which I was actually really shocked that the Raiders were not doing that. I was like, you're just letting Jamar Chase get one-on-one. If blanket coverage with safety over top, DB underneath happens, Boyd has the same skill set, not as quick, but the same skill set as Jamar Chase to blow one deep. And with Joe Burrow loving to push the ball down the field, both of those give me great value at plus 250.
Yeah, no, we talked about it before, man. The way that, again, they're playing a team that's not going to blitz a lot, but they're going to get pressure. They're going to get home at 4. Who better than to dump off to in those quick situations than your slot wide receiver and your tight end? And then obviously last year's team, different team. Tyler Boyd had a great game against this Titans team. Although again, it was only him and T. Higgins. Now Jamar Chase comes back, but he still had success against this secondary. So love the value there, and I do think he sees a lot of targets this weekend.
Yeah, I have Tyler Boyd, I have T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Jamar Chase in a dynasty fantasy league. So I'm definitely all in on the Bengals' future. But Tyler Boyd would definitely be on the second on the pecking order for me when it comes to betting on him or watching them in general. I think Tyler Boyd's just that gritty dude. He's from Pittsburgh. I almost played against him in high school. Thank God I didn't. He would have fried me. But yeah, I like this touchdown bet a lot. It might be the outlier here, or like the scary one if you're betting all these together. But
absolutely.
I still think on the third and goal situations, second and goal situations, Tyler Boyd is just as much of a look as Jamar Chase is for Joe Burrow.
Go ahead.
No, it's really interesting too. When you start thinking about you get to the playoffs, T. Higgins he out targets Tyler Boyd in the red zone, but his conversion rate's not even nearly as close. And you really want to go with those reliable guys. That's why I didn't even think twice about T. Higgins. If he scores, if I get burned by T. Higgins, I get burned by T. Higgins.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be upset about that one either because, like I said, I have in fantasy, and he was good for a little bit, but he's hit or miss. Jamar Chase is the guy you want.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, hey, listen, let's have a fun weekend of football. Vaughn, thanks for joining the show. If you guys want to follow Vaughn on Twitter, it's at VMoneySports. You can follow Bobby at Prop Holiday, 2 L's. Follow me at Mr. Brad Thomas. If you guys are watching on YouTube, smash that subscribe button, smash the like button. And if you're listening with us, go ahead and rate and subscribe. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.